What should I do if my penis becomes soft at the critical moment and the more anxious I am, the harder it is to get hard? Hello, everyone. I am Ying Tao. There are quite a few patients who have consulted me about this issue. I wrote an article to answer it for everyone. First, I will talk about the reasons and then the solutions. There are two main situations in which the penis cannot get hard during sex. One is that it cannot get hard from the beginning of foreplay, and the other is that it is okay at the beginning, but it becomes soft during sex, such as wearing a condom or changing a position, and it becomes soft and cannot get an erection again. The inability to get hard from the beginning of foreplay is called erectile dysfunction. Patients usually feel serious anxiety and fear about sex, and always feel that sex is not stimulating enough. Patients with mild symptoms can still get hard by themselves, but severe ones cannot get hard whether they are having sex by themselves or with real people. The inability to get hard after becoming soft during sex is called mid-course weakness. Although this type of patient can get an erection, the erection is usually not sufficient. As long as the stimulation is slightly interrupted, it will become soft. Moreover, these patients often worry that they will become soft during sex. With this mentality, as long as the penis becomes slightly soft, the whole person will panic, which will eventually lead to a complete softening of the erection, and it will be difficult to get hard again. Men's impotence usually starts with a decrease in hardness, followed by mid-course weakness, and finally a complete inability to erect. In other words, erectile difficulty is actually caused by mid-course weakness. Decreased hardness will inevitably lead to mid-course weakness. If the number of mid-course weakness increases, erectile difficulty will inevitably occur. The causes of impotence in different populations are different. Most young people suffer from excessive masturbation, while the elderly suffer from factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, decreased testosterone levels, and aging itself. Here we mainly explain how young people in their 20s and 30s can solve the problem of impotence caused by excessive masturbation. There are three reasons why the penis fails to get hard at critical moments and becomes more and more anxious to basic causes plus anxiety. The two basic causes are decreased blood supply to the corpus cavernosum and a high threshold for erectile excitement. Anxiety is a manifestation of operational anxiety. Operational anxiety means that because of the previous failed erection experience during sexual life, one can't help but worry about not having a good erection and deliberately feel the hardness of the erection and even urge it to erect. Erection is the result of congestion of the cavernous body of the penis. Excessive masturbation can cause the cavernous sinus and fascia to relax, resulting in a decrease in the blood supply capacity of the cavernous body. At the same time, it will increase the threshold of erectile excitement, resulting in a feeling of insufficient stimulation during sex. When the brain does not feel enough sexual stimulation, the nerve endings secrete less erectile factors, and the cavernous body will be less likely to become congested and hard. When the patient is anxious because he cannot get an erection or is weak in the middle of the erection, the brain will be filled with anxiety and fear, making it even more difficult to feel enough sexual stimulation. At the same time, he will instinctively feel whether the penis is hard or not and contract the anus to try to make it erect. This behavior will stimulate the excitement of the sympathetic nerves, and the sympathetic nerves will inhibit erection. This is why the more anxious you are, the harder it is to get hard. What's more serious is that operational anxiety will drag erection problems into a vicious cycle. The worse it is, the more anxious you are, and the more anxious you are, the worse it is. Treatment of impotence must eliminate operational anxiety. Many patients have taken traditional Chinese medicine, visited hospitals, and tried various methods, but they still can't get better. The problem lies here. Without eliminating operational anxiety or even thinking about it, they just know how to Tony F.Y. the kidneys. How can they recover? Many patients become more desperate the more they are treated, and the problem of impotence becomes more serious because the patients have completely lost confidence. At present, behavioral training is the most effective solution. First, through basic training, the blood supply capacity of the corpus cavernosum can be improved so that you can have a stronger erection reaction under the same degree of sexual stimulation. Then, through psychological training, anxiety and fear can be eliminated, the threshold of erectile excitement can be lowered, and sexual sensitivity can be improved. You can feel stronger sexual stimulation during sex, which will help the brain secrete more erectile factors and improve the speed, hardness, and durability of erection. More detailed methods have been written before. I will directly copy the core part below. If you have time, you can also read my previous articles more often, which will give you a deeper understanding of the treatment of impotence. 1. Control the frequency of masturbation 1 to 3 times a week and watch less stimulating texts, pictures, and videos. Controlling masturbation is difficult, but as long as the method is correct, it can be done. To activate and repair the corpus cavernosum, first promote blood circulation at the base of the penis through lower body strengthening training. Do 10 sets of 10 in a row every day. Then do corpus cavernosum strengthening training, 10 consecutive sets as a group, which can be done in the morning, noon, and evening, or before going to bed. Do basic training in the early stage to improve explosive power, and do advanced training after a week to extend the time from 5 seconds to 10 seconds to improve endurance. Daily supplemented with the Ding Ding energy training method. Each training method is done 20 times, of which the 5th one has the effect of extending the penis. If you persist for more than 2 months, it can be extended by 1 to 2 cm. 3. There are training programs specifically used to relieve operational anxiety during training. The whole training process is 15 minutes once a day and ends on time. Basically, the operational anxiety problem can be solved into weeks, and the erectile ability and confidence can be restored. At present, due to the lack of popularity of sex therapy in China, most people are skeptical about physical training. Only those patients who have not been cured for a long time are willing to try it. However, they are also skeptical at the beginning. They are the last resort. Everyone agrees to take medicine. It is precisely this thinking that makes everyone take detours and suffer. Why not think about this problem with an empty cup mentality, such as thinking seriously about what the cause of impotence is and whether the methods tried before are really effective? Many patients think that impotence is difficult to treat. In fact, it is not difficult to treat this disease, but it is difficult to find effective methods.